Well, joining us, Joseph Wesley, he's child protection specialist with World Vision India. Thanks very much for being with us. COVID has thrown up an incredible concern on the issue of child protection. In a situation like this, when there are lockdown zones and there are containment zones and all sorts of problems, how best can we protect our children? Because in many cases, children aren't out there in the open. They are somewhere and we don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the show. As you rightly said, children living in the urban environment, they are living very invisible lives. So most of them are living in an undocumented life where they do not have even the basic identity documents like birth certificate or ration cards and the documents which are necessary for them to access the services that are available to them. So World Vision India has been working with these kind of children across the country. So we have a series of street children projects implemented in all the metropolitan cities of India. And then we also had different child labor projects implemented in most of the urban centers of our country where children are living this invisible lives. So what we have learned in the process is that already these children are living in a very precarious situation. Now this COVID situation has only made their condition even more worse. So we are faced with an insurmountable problem now. The country has made enormous progress in the last few decades in rehabilitating these children like child laborers, children living on the streets, and children working as rag pickers. Now we are faced with a momentum where we are going to set at least some 10 years back in this entire process of rehabilitating the street children. So for instance, if you just see what's happening in Calcutta, we are working in the red light areas of Calcutta. And as soon as this lockdown was imposed, immediately there was a curfew imposed on this area. The women living in the red light area, that is women involved in commercial sex, so they were severely affected in the process. Let's remember the fact that it is not only the women who are living in the red light area, but also they have children. So we've done a survey in which we have understood that every woman living in the red light area have at least 1 or 2 more children in their families. So children are also living in this red light area. So when the curfew was imposed, immediately there was a drastic reduction of their clientele. So they've lost their entire income. So what you see is today a famine-like situation. Women and children are living in hunger. So that's what we are seeing today. So not only that, because the women and children are living in the brothel even today, there is a high risk of infection. So children are living in fears and anxieties because they don't know what is going to happen to their own mother, because that's all they have left with. The only mother, the biological relationship they have in their life is only their mother. So they are just
बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हैं। भविष्य को लेकर बहुत अनिश्चितताएं हैं और चिंताएं भी होंगी।